Tropic of Capricorn by Henry Miller. Once you have given up the ghost, everything follows with dead certainty, even in the middle of chaos. From the beginning it was never anything but chaos. It was a fluid which enveloped me, which I breathed in through the gills. Even as a child, when I lacked for nothing, I wanted to die. I wanted to surrender because I saw no sense in struggling. To want to change the condition of affairs seemed futile to me. Nothing would be altered, I was convinced, except by a change of heart. And who could change the hearts of men? Now and then a friend was converted. It was something to make me puke. I had no more need of God than he had of me, and if there was one, I often said to myself, I would meet him calmly and spit in his face. If I try to think of a good excuse, I can think only of the environment, of the streets I knew and the people who inhabited them. I can think of no street in America, or of people inhabiting such a street, capable of leading one on towards the discovery of the self. I have walked the streets in many countries of the world, but nowhere have I felt so degraded and humiliated as in America. I think of all the streets in America combined as forming a huge cesspool, a cesspool of the spirit in which everything is sucked down and drained away to everlasting shit. Over this cesspool, the spirit of work weaves a magic wand. Palaces and factories spring up side by side, and munition plants and chemical works, and steel mills and sanatoriums and prisons and insane asylums. The whole continent is a nightmare, producing the greatest misery of the greatest number. I wanted to see America destroyed, razed from top to bottom. I wanted to see this happen purely out of vengeance, as atonement for the crimes that were committed against me and against others like me who have never been able to lift their voices and express their hatred, their rebellion, their legitimate bloodlust. I was the evil product of an evil soil. History may deny it, since I have played no part in the history of my people. But even if everything I say is wrong, is prejudiced, spiteful, malevolent, even if I'm a liar and a prisoner, it is nevertheless the truth, and it will have to be swallowed. As to what happened. Until the one for whom this is written came along, I had imagined that somewhere outside, in life, as they say, lay the solutions to all things. I thought when I came upon her that I was seizing hold of life, seizing hold of something which I could bite into. Instead, I lost hold of life completely. I reached out for something to attach myself to, and I found nothing. But in reaching out, I nevertheless found something I had not looked for. Myself. I found that what I had desired all my life was not to live, if what others are doing is called living, but to express myself. As a boy of 6 or 7, I used to sit at my grandfather's workbench and read to him while he sewed. His daydreaming fascinated me. I knew that he had no connection with what he was doing, not the least thought for any of us that he was alone, and being alone, he was free. I was never alone, least of all when I was by myself. I had the illusion of participating in a common universal misery. If things were wrong with me, they were wrong everywhere. I was convinced of it. And things were wrong usually only when one cared too much. For example, I remembered the case of my young friend Jack Lawson. For a whole year he lay in bed suffering the worst agonies. He was my best friend, so people said at any rate. Well, at first I was probably sorry for him. But after a month or two had elapsed, I grew quite callous about his suffering. I said to myself, he ought to die. And the sooner he dies, the better it will be. And having thought thus, I acted accordingly. That is to say, I promptly forgot about him, abandoned him to his fate. I was only about 12 years old at the time, and I remember being proud of my decision. I remember the funeral, too. What a disgraceful affair it was. There they were, friends and relatives all congregated about the bier, and all of them bawling like sick monkeys. Jack lay there cold as ice and rigid and unbeckonable. He was dead. And there were no two ways about it. He was gone. And with him the sufferings he had endured and the suffering he had...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?